Suddenly, they're back. As mysteriously as they vanished, computer hard drives containing U.S. nuclear secrets reappear. Rising gasoline prices. The president says he's worried. We'll look at the impact on the U.S. economy. A CBS News exclusive, where terrorist Osama bin Laden may strike next, and a dietary supplement that could reduce the risk of heart attack.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. The missing nuclear weapons secrets at the Los Alamos laboratory in New Mexico have suddenly been found. The 2 computer hard drives with the weapons data on them turned up inside the facility where they'd been reported missing 6 weeks ago. And they may actually have been missing longer. It's possible someone took them and put them back. CBS's Cheryl Atkinson is on the fast-breaking story of lost and found at Los Alamos. Cheryl?
Dan, the Energy Department rushed out the announcement late today. The missing hard drives have been found, and if there's a glimpse of good news in this security fiasco, it is that they were found within the lab's Secure Area X division. Energy Secretary Richardson announced that although the hard drives have been visually validated, meaning identified by sight, the official validation of their authenticity is underway. Among the unanswered questions, did the hard drives leave the secured area and were they subsequently returned? Remember, lab personnel, the FBI and Energy Department had, quote, turned the lab upside down over the course of the last month looking for the hard drives. Richardson says he'll aggressively pursue the matter, and there will be accountability and disciplinary actions forthcoming. Earlier today, some prominent House Democrats sent a scathing letter to Richardson demanding that he fire the University of California as manager of Los Alamos, saying the university is obviously not up to the task of ensuring that national security is protected. Dan?
Cheryl Atkinson. CBS's Jim Stewart has been checking with his law enforcement sources about how the hard drives were found. Jim, what have you dug up?
Dan, law enforcement sources say tonight they're pretty certain someone deliberately hid those discs and that a full-blown criminal investigation is now underway to discover who. The discs were found stuffed behind a copying machine inside Division X at Los Alamos. That specific area had been searched at least twice before. It does not appear they've been tampered with. The discovery also comes only one day after sources say polygraph exams of DOE scientists in Division X showed apparent deception over just how long the discs have been missing. DOE said they first noticed their absence on May 7th, but sources say it's likely now they went missing weeks earlier. In short, investigators say it looks less and less like sabotage, or espionage rather, and more like a foul-up followed by a cover-up. Dan?
Jim Stewart, thanks. Correspondent Stewart also has new and exclusive information tonight on Osama bin Laden. He's the renegade Saudi multimillionaire blamed for the 1998 U.S. embassy bombings, whose terror web now stretches far from his home base in Afghanistan.
If you thought Osama bin Laden's terrorist activities were limited to the Middle East, then consider the plight of these 21 foreign tourists entering their 3rd month of captivity in the Philippine jungle.
We are finished. We're tired. We cannot face this anymore.
Their Islamic captors don't want money. They're demanding the release from this Colorado prison of Ramzi Youssef, the mastermind of the World Trade Center bombing and one of bin Laden's chief strategists. And the Philippine Secretary of Defense tells CBS News that Egyptian and Saudi passports were recently found on the bodies of 2 of the kidnappers after an attack on government forces.
There's been an established link between the group of Osama bin Laden. The network has been operating in several countries, including the Philippines.
The developments have caused serious concern within the FBI, which has stepped up its monitoring of terrorist activities along the Pacific Rim from Malaysia to the Philippines, Thailand, and Australia, site of this year's Summer Olympics. FBI Director Louis Freeh is so concerned about threats to U.S. interest at the Games that he recently dispatched a top assistant to Sydney who came back warning that bin Laden supporters have targeted the city. 12 FBI agents have already been sent to the game sites and more will follow. Australian security forces have begun virtually non-stop counterterrorism exercises, worried that bin Laden, without ever leaving his Afghanistan hideout, has earned the loyalty of terrorist groups throughout the Pacific.
In the Philippines and in Thailand, that manifested itself in a wave of outpouring of support for bin Laden he was lionized amongst militants.
Giving him not only the influence, but now the reach of the world's first truly global terrorist. Jim Stewart, CBS News at the FBI.
President Clinton said today he's frustrated that gasoline prices are rising with no good explanation. With the overall inflation a tame 3.6% this year, gasoline prices have risen 10 times as fast to a nationwide average $1.61 a gallon, in many places $2 or more. Midwesterners using reformulated gasoline have seen prices rise 50% to more than $2 a gallon. With an election coming, Anthony Mason looks at the impact of all this on the U.S. economy.
Sure, it hurts.
More going into the gas tank, less into my tank.
But rising gas prices may be helping to put the brakes on an economy in overdrive.
Well, we're definitely seeing a slowdown in the rise of disposable income. Certainly, if consumers are spending more for gasoline, they have less left over to spend for something else.
Like motorhomes, the RV powerhouse Winnebago warned this week that rising gas prices and interest rates could slow its sales. That's what Alan Greenspan has been waiting to hear. The Fed chairman has been raising interest rates to cool off the economy. But former Federal Reserve Governor Lyle Gramley says this slowdown may be just a rest stop.
I expect a reacceleration of growth in the second half, and I don't think the Fed has finished tightening yet.
Whatever happens with interest rates, analysts say higher gas prices are here for a while. Summer is rush hour at the pump, and prices won't begin to fall until the temperature does.
But that's when another problem could kick in. Oil analyst Bruce Lonnie says home heating oil inventories are at an all-time low.
If we do get a cold winter, I think we're in a pretty tough spot. You're going to see heating oil prices spike up just like you've seen gasoline prices spike up. And so it's just going to be a continuation of higher prices for the consumer.
So as you head off on your summer vacation, maybe it's better not to look too far down the road.
I'm headed for Chicago. It's $2.40 a gallon there. So
Anthony Mason.
Heaven help us.
CBS News, New York.
On the CBS Market Watch, projections of lower corporate profits sent the blue chips tumbling today. The Dow lost 265 points. The Nasdaq went the other way, up 14. A baby Bell is getting hitched. The FCC today approved the merger of Bell Atlantic and GTE, forming the largest local telephone company. And Congress has approved legislation giving the electronic signature sent through cyberspace the same validity as the old John Hancock. Next on the Friday CBS Evening News, we will take you to the site of the next big forest fire danger. And check your pockets. We'll tell you about a dollar that could be worth a mint. The U.S. government's latest drought forecast today is enough to wither hopes and crops for the long term. But the 3-month forecast has a sprinkle of good news. This includes above normal rain in the southwest, including parts of Texas. Despite rain, drought persists in much of the Midwest. Florida will get much needed rain, but elsewhere in the southeast, there's not even a temporary reprieve. The Rocky Mountain West, it's much better. Crews battling the wildfires that destroyed 19,000 acres and more than 50 homes near Denver got a break this day from the weather. Temperatures dropped, the gale force winds died down, and the humidity is up with rain in the forecast. This government map points out the worst drought and heat stress areas for vegetation. They're shown in red, and it shows there's a lot more ready to burn far from fires in the west and southeast. Case in point, some of the most precious forest land in Minnesota. Correspondent Bob McNamara went there on the CBS Weather Watch.
The canoes and campers are back in America's most popular wilderness.
It was really terrific. What a wonderful time.
It was just a year ago that a storm packing hurricane-force winds left a scar 30 miles long across the heart of northern Minnesota's Boundary Waters canoe area. More than 20 million trees were blown down. Today, some of the timber outside the wilderness is salvaged, but loggers know too well these woods are dangerously drought dry.
If you threw a match in there right now, it would just go poof, just burn right up, because you can see all the branches and that are so dry in there.
We will probably have fires in there, and there'll be probably some very severe fires over the next 10-year time.
Every day now, Forest Service spotter planes go in search of the slightest fire signs. An Air Force of aerial bombers is here too.
Any fires that start in the blowdown area, we will suppress immediately.
a few weeks ago. When wildfires threatened to ignite the already ravaged national wilderness, they were doused before the firestorm everyone fears could start.
We're seeing that we don't do stupid things. We're seeing that our visitors are more informed.
Now, before people go into the wilderness, they're required to watch a video detailing the dangers.
If you see or smell smoke, don't panic.
We'd be stupid if we weren't concerned.
That concern is putting sprinkler systems on the roofs of many resorts and cabins on the wilderness edge.
They will not only wet things down, but they will create humidity in the area, and they really do cover all of the buildings.
They like this spot so much that they decided to come back and build a nest.
Nature photographer Jim Brandenburg says there's no choice but to make peace with the prospect of impending fire.
Nature speaks with a loud voice, and bats laugh. And we have to learn how to deal with that.
And tonight, a place of wonder is also a place of worry and wait. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Ely, Minnesota.
Texas A&M University announced today its annual bonfire tradition of 90 years will resume, but not until 2002. It will also be far different to ensure no repetition of the bonfire tower collapse last November that killed 12 people and injured 27. There will now be far more university supervision of the tower construction, and licensed professionals will design it. Next on CBS, what appears to be an unexpected new health benefit from an old familiar dietary supplement. There's news tonight about a possible whole new health benefit from foods and/or supplements containing folic acid. They may help prevent heart disease. Medical correspondent Elizabeth Caledon has the latest facts on folic acid on the CBS Health Watch.
You look better and better every day.
After a lifetime of good living and bad diet, 45-year-old Michael Snodowski now finds himself recovering from bypass surgery.
It doesn't happen in one day. It takes 20, 30 years to get to the state where I'm in.
A crucial part of his recovery will involve taking a simple dietary supplement called folic acid.
I'm hoping, promise me, that he'll take his folic acid.
Snodowski's cardiac surgeon, Dr. Mehmet Oz, believes the supplement has the power to actually prevent heart attack.
I advise my patients who are over the age of 40, especially if they have a family history of heart disease, to take folic acid routinely.
Up until now, folic acid has primarily been the concern of pregnant women because of its ability to fight birth defects. The federal government even decided to add it to some foods like breads and pastas in 1998. Many doctors believe that move may unexpectedly improve the nation's heart health. Folic acid also lowers levels of a chemical in the blood called homocysteine. Like cholesterol, high homocysteine levels have been linked to heart disease.
We understand now that we have an elevated chemical in the blood causing a very precise bit of damage that we can reverse with a safe, innocuous vitamin pill.
Robert McDonough wished he had known about the supplement sooner. It might have prevented his heart attack and more than a dozen surgeries to repair damaged arteries.
Since I've been on folic acid, I haven't had the problems with blockage around my heart.
Folic acid alone won't reverse heart disease without a good diet and exercise behind it. But this is one dietary supplement even the medical establishment seems to think might do more good than harm. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, New York.
CBS Next, why the less than popular golden dollars could soon be the most sought after coins in America. His arrest in Moscow this week drew charges of Soviet-style repression. Today, a Russian media tycoon was released from prison. Vladimir Gusinsky was interviewed on his own television network after being freed. He's still charged with stealing government funds and had to promise not to leave the country. Critics say the Kremlin is trying to stifle a free press and free speech. A political rival to Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic survived an apparent assassination attempt. The Serb opposition leader was grazed by 2 bullets when gunmen fired into his home. He blames Milosevic for the attack. After 10 years of structural work to keep it from falling, Italy's Leaning Tower of Pisa reopened today, standing 10 inches straighter. But it closes again next week for another year of restoration. And 2 Russian cosmonauts returned to Earth today after 73 days aboard the Mir space station. The next flight to the aging Mir tentatively set for next year, may include a paying customer. Dennis Tito, a wealthy former NASA scientist, has agreed to pay $20 million to become the first tourist in space. The U.S. Mint has produced a coin in a new denomination, $1.25, but it's worth a lot more than that. Collectors call it a double denomination mule era. Mule as in half donkey, half horse, or in this case, half dollar, half quarter. We'll see if Jim Axelrod can make heads or tails of it.
So, they've got this new golden dollar coin.
The U.S. Mint spent $40 million trying to draw attention to its newest coin.
Get your free golden dollar coin here.
Tonight, it turns out one big mistake may have done it for free. The new dollar coins are supposed to feature the Indian guide Sacagawea, but one turned up in Arkansas recently with an old familiar face.
They took a front for a Washington quarter and combined it with the back for a Sacagawea dollar and came up with a coin that's 25 cents on one side and a dollar on another.
Dave Bowers, the dealer who will auction the coin, says never in its 208-year history has the Mint made a mistake like it.
The whole coin world is agog with this. Oh, how exciting, how fantastic, it's unbelievable.
The Mint is investigating, but a spokesman says it's no big deal. Coin collectors have a different take, saying the unique $1.25 could bring the man who found it $100,000.
This is a simply amazing error. It's just right off the scale.
And coin experts like David Lang simply have no idea how many other mistakes might be out there.
There may be more of these, and that people should be looking at their coins. Certainly I would go and try to get some Sacagawea dollars, and if you don't find this error, you might find something just as good.
Houston, we have a dollar. So tonight, the Mint's got publicity it couldn't buy, and a gold-plated reminder. Always be careful what you wish for. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.
Straight ahead on the CBS Evening News, the little prince no longer. At 18, William has his mother's looks, and don't the girls know it? Whether the British monarchy matters anymore or not is beside the point. Some British newspapers have begun printing pictures of attractive young women from suitably aristocratic families. The opening moves in a game of royal matchmaking. That's because William, eldest son of Charles and Diana, celebrates his 18th birthday Wednesday. The British think it's important. CBS's Mark Phillips reports.
You remember William, the prince who looks so much like his mother. That's him in the red vest, but you probably knew that. Well, now William, as he turns 18, is at the center of a very Princess Diana-like media storm. These pictures, released today, were shot with royal approval at William's exclusive Eton school. A studious prince, an athletic prince, a hunk of a prince who, as his water polo number suggests, is in line to be King William V. A prince who will not likely need some of the domestic skills he's been learning. But the storm is over these unauthorized pictures, which appeared earlier this week and which broke the "don't intrude on William and ruin his life like you did his mother's" rule. The photographer who took them could care less.
You just can't turn fame on and off. It just doesn't work like that.
And William is the most famous royal left. Just ask the girls who swoon wherever he goes. Just ask the man who covers the royals for Britain's biggest tabloid.
He's got the looks of Diana. He's tall, he's blue-eyed, he's got money, he's going to be a future king. Don't you hate him?
As he turns 18, it's open season on William, a magnet for stories real and imagined.
We constantly hear about how he's supposed to be in love with Britney Spears. Absolute rubbish.
But that is the price of fame. Much as William might want a normal life, he won't get one. He has the curse of his mother. His picture sells newspapers.
If Prince William is going to be in Hyde Park with a beautiful girl who is his girlfriend, but I think, yes, I would take a picture.
And so, say those who have studied royal misbehavior, would anybody else.
Prince William will only have his privacy if, poor boy, he behaves impeccably.
His many fans and the tabloid press are hoping he doesn't. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Eton.
And that's part of our world tonight. Sunday morning on Face the Nation, Bob Schieffer will have the latest on the Los Alamos nuclear secrets, and he'll talk to the new Gore campaign chairman, Bill Daley. And now here's a look at what's coming up Sunday evening on 60 Minutes and tomorrow, Saturday night, on a special 48 Hours.
A master con man with more than 20 identities. He tricked the Army and the FBI. What price will he pay for being the imposter? Saturday on 48 Hours.
Cops and robbers for real, with a twist you'll find hard to believe. That's why it's on 60 Minutes, Sunday.
Until 48 Hours tomorrow night, Saturday night at 8, 7 Central. Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Make your summer wardrobe sizzle on the Saturday Early Show. Experience CBS News.